The anime we're talking about today is all about wizards. Some would describe me as a bit of a wizard, but to them I'm less key-free and more... Get away from me! Good everyone, I'm IrishAnimeFan, and today I will be reviewing the 2024 BL anime Cherry Magic. 30 years of virginity can make you a wizard? Sorry, I just had to say it like that. Based on the manga by Yu Toyota, the anime was directed by Yoshiko Okuda, with series composition by Tomoko Konparu and animation by Satellite. What if you woke up one day and found out that you were able to read minds? No, we're not doing that. That is what office worker Kiyoshi Adachi realized on the day of his 30th birthday. He gained this ability after remaining a virgin all this time, hearing anyone's thoughts upon making physical contact with them. On his way to work, he accidentally bumps into Yuichi Kurosawa, his popular, handsome, and charismatic co-worker. Adachi assumes someone like Kurosawa would never be interested in a gloomy virgin like himself, but surprisingly, upon hearing his thoughts, he learns that Kurosawa has a massive crush on him. As Kurosawa spends more time with him, Adachi now has to come to terms with those feelings, and whether he decides to reciprocate them or not. Now last year someone actually asked me to review Cherry Magic on the channel, and I said I would get around to it eventually. I even had plans to actually cover it last year, but plans unfortunately kind of fell through at around that time, so I'm only getting around to it this year. But I have to be honest with you guys, this video could have turned out very differently. Because I'd watched the first 3 episodes of the series last year and I was not the biggest fan of them. I didn't really care about the characters all that much. I felt that the structure and the format was already getting repetitive at this early stage, and with a premise like that, I feared that it was going to go down a morally grey path that I just wasn't comfortable with confronting at that stage. Believe me, I was this close to dropping this series entirely. But I figured I might as well continue on because, you know, I wanted to give it a fair shake and I've heard some really good things about it, so maybe this was just a hurdle I needed to overcome. And what ended up happening really shocked me. It went from a series that I really thought I was going to hate into a series that I actually ended up enjoying quite a bit. Okay, how did any of that happen? Well, I guess that's what we'll find out. I think it would make sense for me to address the issues I did have with Cherry Magic in the beginning, and how by the end, it managed to turn them around. Firstly, let's look at the characters, specifically Adachi and Kurosawa. I initially shrugged both of them off as just your typical uke and seme types respectively. Even the couple of characteristics that could set them apart, such as Kurosawa's down bad inner thoughts, clashing with his otherwise professional conduct, and Adachi's gloomy incel-like personality, it unfortunately didn't shake up the fact that I found them to be the most basic versions of their archetypes. But as they got more development over the course of the series, those assumptions I had about them in the beginning quickly began to change. Starting with Kurosawa, his perfect image that he's built up for himself begins to break down a bit once you get to know him. He displays a lot more jealousy when anybody gets a little too cozy with Adachi, but even if he wanted Adachi all to himself, and there were many opportunities in the series where Kurosawa could have taken advantage of that, he still shows restraint by respecting his boundaries. Also, Kurosawa bursts into song in one episode, which I wasn't expecting to see, but hey, I'm not complaining. But perhaps the biggest shift in opinion is how I felt about Adachi, who gets significant development throughout the series. Having very little experience with love, with his feelings being unreciprocated repeatedly for his entire life, has left Adachi feeling jaded as a result. But when he receives a lot of attention from Kurosawa, understandably, he doesn't know how to process it all. Initially, Adachi is dependent on his powers to get a better understanding of who Kurosawa is and win him over that way, But over time, he realizes he does possess qualities that make him worthy of someone's affection. So he becomes less reliant on using his powers as a crutch and channels that into becoming a better person instead. He becomes more assertive and self-confident, especially when it comes to being more honest about his feelings towards Kurosawa. This is also reflected in his appearance. At the start of the series, his dark fringe covers about half of his face, reflecting his gloomy outlook. But over the course of the series, as he begins to open up to more people, we see more of his face as a result of that. It's a small detail in the grand scheme of things, but it adds so much to Adachi's overall character arc. The next thing that the series had that I think changed for the better was how it became less repetitive and one-note as it went along. I was expecting the anime to follow the formula established in episode 1, where Adachi keeps his powers a secret from Kurosawa, all the while ending up in compromising situations, which further emphasize their roles in the story. Repeat that for 12 episodes until they finally end up together. However, while it may have appeared that way in the beginning, as the two grow as characters, the plot grows with them, evolving into something that becomes more engaging as a result. The series also shakes things up a bit by following another couple's journey concurrently. Misato Suge, a romance novelist who's also Adachi's friend from their college days, is also a virgin who attains the same power of reading minds, including that of his delivery boy, Minato Wataya. They both strike up a bond with each other since that chance encounter, including Suge learning about Minato's dream of becoming a dancer, to which Suge does whatever he can to support him on that journey. This pivot away from the main plot served as something that renewed my interest in the series, exploring new possibilities for the story as it focused on this new dynamic. And it was fun keeping tabs on these two pursuing their artistic endeavors, even if their relationship went down a more generic route. Finally, the series managed to avoid the biggest worry I had going into it, that it could have gotten very problematic very quickly. The lack of consent when it came to reading minds and the power imbalance between Adachi and Kurosawa, especially in this workplace environment, was kind of off-putting to me because of how easily that could be exploited. But thankfully, for the most part, it doesn't go down that path. There are a couple of instances where it comes close to crossing that line, such as the company's secretary, Nozomi Fujisaki, who's also a raging fujoshi by the way, fantasizing about Adachi and Kurosawa in compromising situations. Girl, that is not workplace appropriate. If I caught you fetishizing your coworkers in real life, I'd report your ass to HR. But apart from that, everything else is handled maturely, probably because these characters are actually adults who communicate what they're feeling to each other, leading to less misunderstandings and gauge exactly where the other person is at in their own relationship. While the series was ultimately designed to appeal to BL fans and fujoshis alike, it seems to me that Yu Toyota wanted Cherry Magic to be more than that. She wanted to use the series as a vehicle to depict a healthy MLM relationship, probably more so than was expected of BL at the time, considering that both Adachi and Kurosawa don't necessarily fall into either the seme or the uke type all much. It's pretty much all a level playing field. From the research I did, she clearly has a lot of respect for the genre and recognizes its potential to tell engaging stories of boys falling in love with each other, going as far as to advise the staff for the live-action TV adaptation, which aired in 2020, to not include any derogatory remarks towards the BL genre or virgins in general. Speaking of the live-action adaptation, when the sequel film was released a couple years later, she announced over on her Twitter that she donated a portion of the rights fee to Marriage for All Japan, an organization established to legalize and support marriage equality all across Japan, with her writing, quote, "I hope that our society can become a place where people can love each other in the form they desire, regardless of gender." End quote. Now, not every BL anime and manga series has to be this bastion of good LGBTQ+ representation in the medium, nor does it necessarily need to be, and that's something I've kind of had to learn over making these Pride Month videos for the last 5 years. But when a series like Cherry Magic does come around and does advocate for that kind of stuff, I think it's something that should be worth celebrating. But I've rambled on for long enough, and I think it's about time we wrapped this video up. As stated earlier, Cherry Magic has its fair share of problems. The first couple of episodes were kind of a slog to get through, many of the supporting characters were pretty bland, and the animation was inconsistent and kind of subpar most of the time. But with that being said, the Adachi and Kurosawa relationship, you know, the anime's core foundation, is done superbly well. It took a while for it to get going, but once it did, it presented us with a respectful, sweet, and most importantly, a complete story, which you don't often see in BL. For an anime I thought I would end up hating, it won me over completely by the end. Now, if that doesn't make you believe in magic, then I don't know what will. Anyway, that does it for me. I hope you all enjoyed it. As always, like the video, share it around because that really helps me out, and make sure you subscribe to be notified of whenever I upload a new video. I've been IrishAnimeFan, and until next time, Slán.